Now I'm recording. All right. So, you guys, now it is that we are officially in 2025. We gotta. I hope that this does not happen. I really hope it doesn't, because I like TikTok. Chat, I really do. I'll be finding out so much juicy information, some recipes, some stuff to where it is I can stay within my little feminine space on TikTok. And we may have TikTok until January 19th. And then if the Congress doesn't do anything about it, then we're going to lose it. And I'm very upset about this. Like, I really do like TikTok. So, Jamari, shout outs to you. Let's talk about the end of TikTok. I'm not ready for this. I'm really not ready for this. But without further ado, you think Trump's supposed to be inaugurated the next day? Coincidence? I think not.
Well guys, it looks like TikTok might officially be getting banned. There's been talks about this for a very long time, and now we are finally seeing the issue come to a head, and the matter is about to head into Supreme Court tomorrow. So 9 months ago, the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act was proposed to Joe Biden, who quickly signed this bill.
I just signed into law the national security package that was passed by the House of Representatives this weekend and by the Senate yesterday. It's going to make America safer. It's going to make the world safer, and it continues America's leadership in the world, and everyone knows it.
So it's your fault. So Joe, it's your fault. That's all it is. Is that what it is that I'm hearing, that it was Joe's fault? I can understand that, because Joe ain't never heard of no damn TikTok growing up. That was not a thing. That wasn't even a thought of process. Come on, Joe. The fact that it started out with you is kind of crazy, but then again, it makes a little bit of sense, because, you know, you kind of up there within age, so I understand it. I get it. Sure.
This was something that both Democrats and Republicans...
You said Dante said this is the last time he said why the world is running by old white people. I mean, you can't say that, because Trump is up there too. Like, Trump is well within his 70s. He's the same age. I believe he is the same age that Biden entered in as being the president for. So, I mean, realistically speaking, you know, he's old too.
Unanimously agreed on that the App Store overall needed more regulation and less foreign involvement, especially from our enemies.
When it comes to media apps like TikTok, we are failing our children and we are failing our country.
Oh, don't sit there and tell me it isn't. You're failing the children where it isn't. There's still school books that haven't been updated since the 1990s. You want to talk about some of this, you're failing the children. Go ahead and look at some of these schools that they're feeding these children, these babies, throughout the entire school year. You want to look at somebody's school lunch and sit there and say it is like, oh, you're doing a disservice for the children? What about better health care? What about allowing, you know, reduced and free lunch and stuff like that? I mean, don't get me wrong. I had to sit there and lie to get reduced and free lunch when I was in high school. At the time, I think it was like $2.25 for a lunch for a kid, and it is almost $1 for breakfast. Come on now, don't sit there and talk about something that is like, oh, it's like, oh, we got to worry about the kids. We need to focus on the kids, but you're not even doing the stuff it is for schools for the kids, let alone for the adults it is that work for these schools. The teachers don't even make that much money as it is anyway, unless it is you are a professor, which means that you got to go back to school more, get all these levels of certifications and stuff like that. Like, don't sit there and say it is you care about with the damn kids, and yet there's so many things it is within like the school rights and stuff that y'all could have fixed a long time ago.
Why in the hell would we allow a foreign adversary like the Chinese Communist Party to control a technology platform and key source of information that reaches half of the United States?
But isn't most of the stuff it is that we get and use made by China? I get it. It isn't like you beefing with them or whatnot, but like, I feel like it is we beefing with some people it is that is way more advanced than us. Hold on, like, time out, because like, who gonna sit there and make some of these things and get all this stuff, these goods and stuff like that? I feel like we overstepping our boundaries a little bit. Like, hold on.
Like I said, TikTok specifically has been on the chopping block for years, as it has long been feared that China is using it as not only a tool to collect data and information on Americans, but also to launch what I see as the new digital war, the war on misinformation. Because of this, TikTok has been viewed as a threat to America's national security for quite some time. They even introduced a No TikTok on Government Device Act years ago to combat this potential information theft.
TikTok had to admit that, in fact, they'd been surveilling the locations of specific U.S. reporters that have been writing unfavorable stories about the company.
So basically, the government claims that TikTok got caught with their hands in our cookie jar. I mean, when you sign up on their platform, you do give them access to what you're watching on your phone, how long you're watching it, your private messages, your geolocation, your age, your search and browsing history, and even your keystroke data, and even that kind of just scratches the surface of what they can be looking at.
I feel like at this point, right, Babs, like Babs said, like half of the nation is we're either getting frozen to death, and then the West Coast is dealing with all these levels of fires as it is already. I feel like we have bigger problems to worry about other than just TikTok. Okay? And don't get me wrong, TikTok is so damn useful. It's so useful for things that is like, damn, like, you know, I wasn't taught this within school. There's been plenty of videos that I've seen. I'm just like, wow, where was that within school? That was not taught. You know, things of learning about related to history, like climate control changes, stuff that's going on with politics and the government and stuff like that. You know, you can find recipes and stuff like off of TikTok. You can find like a nice little motivational quotes. Like TikTok is so many different varieties of different things, but yet I feel like we worry about the wrong problem. Us as Americans, we are worried about the wrong damn problem. We have way too much stuff to be worried about. Don't we owe other countries money? As it is, like, we worried about the wrong things as of right now. Don't we owe China money? Correct me if I'm wrong, please, but like, you know what I mean?
Basically, it's kind of like you're leaving your front door open at night, hoping no one peeks in to see what's going on. And with over 170 million Americans currently using their platform on the daily, that is a lot of information they can be gathering. And in them passing that bill I mentioned earlier, they gain the ability to force TikTok to cut ties with their Chinese-based parent company ByteDance. It's either that, or they can lose all access to their American consumers.
Yeah, we
and
do
this
owe
is
money
something
to
that
like a
could
lot
go
of
into
different
place
countries.
as early as January 19th. I mean, they must really feel like China is up to something, as this was classified as an emergency, and the Supreme Court agreed to settle the dispute only 2 days after it was placed on their desk. Now, obviously, some people argue that this is a violation of freedom of speech. While the government says they're concerned with China advancing their own geopolitical interest and spreading misinformation, especially during a time of crisis. And the real worry for the freedom of speech crowd is that this would essentially open the door for the government to target other free speech platforms for the content they carry. I mean, I do have to say, I've seen far more propaganda and complete and utter nonsense posted onto Twitter in the last 18 months than I've ever seen on TikTok. And on the other side of things, TikTok has already said back last April that they are going to be refusing to sell the company, and that it would actually be impossible for them to do so, with their reasoning being that they do not want to sell their secret sauce that makes their algorithm so addicting. And then to make matters even more interesting, Trump is actually directly opposed to the banning of TikTok.
And you'll never ban TikTok, that's for sure.
I will never ban TikTok.
Thank you.
Which is the opposite of the stance that he had back in his first term when he actually tried to get it banned.
We're looking at TikTok. We may be banning TikTok. We may be doing some other things. There are a couple of options.
But back then, Biden was actually the one to block the bill once he took office, so they straight up switched positions. Pause. Trump actually met with TikTok CEO recently, and he praised the platform as a whole for helping him win the last election.
How do you plan to stop the ban on TikTok next month?
We'll take a look at TikTok. You know, I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok because I won youth by 34 points. And there are those that say that TikTok had something to do with that.
So now he wants there to be some sort of negotiation once he does take office. I would guess that he wants to use the platform as leverage over China's head, as he has requested that the Supreme Court pause this law's implementation until he actually gets into office. So we're gonna have to see what happens tomorrow, guys. I mean, this is crazy. This news just broke around 30 minutes ago. So I will continue to keep you updated, but y'all make sure you subscribe. I do want to know down below, how much are y'all using TikTok? I think I'm more of a Reels or YouTube Shorts guy myself. But I will say, I do receive...
I'm not gonna lie. I don't be using YouTube Shorts. I mean, reels be cool, but it's TikTok for me. You know, I be on TikTok daily. I will have all different types of favorite videos and everything like that. Like, come on, like I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok. I'm almost going to sit there and say TikTok is a top 3 for me. It's a top 3. It's a top 3 girly for me that I use on a day-to-day basis between Twitter and Instagram, and of course, well, 4 because of YouTube, but. YouTube is a part of my job. Need to be posting more. You right. I do. You know what I mean? It's okay though, you know? It's all right.
Completely different content on the different short form platforms. And can we just all say a prayer one time for my guy Jamani and his gambling addiction? Because without TikTok, my guy is done. Either way, y'all know it's Benny Boy the Tan Superman, and some other platform bannings out here need to be covered. So I'm out. Peace!
You said they need to bring back Vine? Man. And just think of it like this, like so many creators that like was discovered from TikTok and discovered from Vine too. Man, I miss Vine. But man, we shall see what this is going to end up being as of now moving forward. I am a little bit concerned. But I just hope it is that we keep our beloved TikTok because like I be getting a lot of great information, great deals and stuff like that from TikTok. I've even ordered from the TikTok shop. Like, what we doing? So hopefully it is. We'll see what's gonna come from it. But Jamari, shout outs to you. Thank you so much for the video. Shout outs to y'all in the chat. And shout outs to you at home. I will catch y'all in the next video.